All right, guys, welcome to the weekend AMA. It is Friday night, and we're for those of you who are new to the channel, every weekend I like to do a topic where we answer some of your questions. Start off with a topic rather, and then answer some of your questions. And today's sort of topic is a little bit broad. And I've have a series that I'm thinking of creating about this specific topic because there's about 20 things we could talk about when we're discussing what it means to be a professional, not only in software development but as an employee in general, right? Um, and I honestly think I might do a whole series on this, but I want this to be something that's in the back of your mind at all times. Sometimes people think to be a professional, you have to worry about, not cussing, not having fun, not like cussing's fun, you're so cool or anything like that, but they have to be very stiff. That's not really the case. Being a professional in software development encompasses a lot of things. And it encompasses when you do make commitments, sticking to them, and when you can't make commitments, communicating that. Sometimes aggressively. It happens. You have to do your best with it. So there's quite a few items, but that means when you resign from a job, putting your 2 weeks in, as an example. That means in those 2 weeks showing up on time and delivering quality work. Just because you're leaving a place doesn't mean that you don't want to be on good notes. It means, we've already, we started a series talking about being able to write good, clean code and writing code professionally. But there is a professionalism that's outside of the coding realm. That's making sure that you show up on time to work. That when you have a meeting, you are there in person. That this is something that you want to be there. You show you are excited and you are partaking in it. So it is important to do that. Have you ever put in 2 weeks notice in the web dev industry? Yes. Yes. Closing out your tickets and finishing projects, that's part of leaving too. Yes, it is. It is, doing knowledge transfers, mentoring junior devs or other devs or senior devs that aren't fluent in whatever it is you're working in. Not hoarding knowledge, but being a team member. There are a lot of aspects of professional and software development that, you may not ace them all. I don't ace them all, right? No one's perfect, but your goal should be to be a professional. And that's a very broad concept and a very broad statement, but there should be an overarching goal that goes with that. And that will get you very far. If you can be professional and you can write professional level code, you're in the top 1%. So you can get there in 5 years. That's really it. The amount of things I've been able to do in 3 years, 2 years as a dev, but sort of studying for 3.5 years, if that, 5 years, 5 years of work, you'd be surprised how phenomenal you could be. What time did I go and return to work? I worked today from 8:30 to 5, maybe 5:15, 5:20. I was facilitating a last-minute feature that came up, and I made it very clear that I made no commitments. Talking about professionalism, let's talk about an example today. You guys want a real-life example? You want to know what it's like to work in the workplace? All right. Without getting into too much details, my work has a large event going on this weekend, and they wanted a last-minute feature to be made and released. It wasn't a project I've worked on. It wasn't, my coworker happened to be sick, and, his boss, essentially, a director, came to me, said, hey, 5 minutes before the shop closed yesterday, came to me and said, I need you to do this for me, Dylan. Cool. All right. Sat down, spent the next 30 minutes playing around with it. It didn't compile. There's some, dev setup issues. came in first thing tomorrow, been working on it all day, get it done. And then I get done at 3, I leave at 5, right? I don't really work overtime. I put overtime in outside of work with YouTube, with books, with quizzes, tests, the whole deal. Studying algorithms. But I don't do it outside of work or work overtime for the most part. So I got it going. Then we had DevOps issues. These things happen, right? This is an old project, hasn't been built in 8 or 9 months. All right, cool. Start working with DevOps. How can I help? This and that. Communicating. DevOps is being professional as well, handling it, right? It's frustrating for him. He's got a lot of stuff going on, but he's been handling it. So I stay 15 minutes late. Nothing crazy, to help get it out and say, oh, by the way, we got it out last minute. It's not perfect. Can't really do anything about it. But it's out there. Now there's another process, right? It has to go through QA. It has to, assuming it passes QA, it has to go through UAT. Once it goes through UAT, it then goes out to production. And that's assuming that there's no issues. I don't have to make any changes. So the lines of communication were open. A project that really shouldn't have been mine became mine. That's all right. And I did my best to accomplish that. So there's a level of professionalism. And in there, might I say that not a single time did I ever commit to getting it done. I said for the most part, several times today, it's looking like we're going to get it out. It's looking like we're going to get out. And then we hit a hiccup and then immediately communicated saying, nope, we're not. Sorry. You might want to start telling people this ain't coming because we're still, we're having issues. So it happens. But there's nothing worse than an unprofessional developer. People, those are the types that I wouldn't want to work with. But anyhow, guys, we're kind of harping on professionalism. We got some questions here. So let's see. Someone asked me, have I ever put in my 2 weeks notice before? I'm not going to dive into it in this video, but I just did it yesterday. So I actually gave 3 weeks notice. I gave more notice than I needed. We'll talk about that in another video, but I did just put in my notice yesterday at my work. So I know you guys are like going to ask a million questions, why and how much you make it and all that sort of stuff. But yes, I did put in my notice recently. Do they drug test devs? Some places do. I got drug tests for my current workplace. Like weed, yes, weed is a drug. If you haven't heard, and they also do a background check. So it depends on the organization. So it just kind of depends. Can you take as many breaks, as much breaks as you want? Every job is different. I would say for the most part, once you're in a sort of salaried role where you are a trusted employee, they expect you to manage your time just fine, right? It's all about getting your work done. What time do I go to work? I think I already said 8 to 5, 8 to 5:30 typically though. How far should a front end go? Do I need to learn back end at all? You should always have an understanding of how all aspects of an application work. You should understand the process of an application and where it goes, and how the back end connects to the front end, and how the back end connects to the database and middleware, and what APIs are doing. You really have to understand that, and to understand it, you have to play around in it. So, and if you enjoy software, you should enjoy playing around in it. Does someone with a secret clearance have an advantage in web development as far as you know? Yes, you're always going to have an advantage. Will it be an advantage at every job? No. Will it ever be a detriment? Probably not. I have seen a lot of jobs where there's a lot of tech companies that have you that work with the government, and some of them will pay to get your clearance, but if you already have one, that's something you don't have to pay for, and you're a little higher rated. Gives you a little bit of advantage. How technical was your first interview, and how many projects did you have in your portfolio? I probably had 2 or 3 like real projects. My YouTube channel and my YouTube channel's website, and then I had a bunch of like maybe 8 small ones, like free code camp type things. It wasn't a super technical interview. My very first one, it was a take-home project, and then a couple phone calls. That was pretty much it. I'll have a video coming out talking about a couple of technical interviews in the future. Just sort of fun little things. Thanks for introducing me for cooking. You're welcome, man. I try to code every day until I have a job, but when it comes to Fridays, I don't have any motivation to code. Any tips? Yeah, just watch like some YouTube videos. Code Tech has a great series. You know, my brain's usually dead on Fridays. That's why I do these, right? I consider this to be a degree of me coding, right? So I'm on here, we're talking about software, and I'm providing value. I'm providing mentoring, which I think is one of the things that all devs should do in whatever fashion that they can do. I think we have a responsibility to give back, and this is part of my way. I consider this part of my duty as a developer, and so I count this as my coding for Fridays. And I do it on Friday because it's a little bit less mentally draining. I've been working all week. I've been killing myself, and so here's something that I can do and enjoy without going crazy. Does your work have key performance indicators such as time management and work completion? Yes, every major corporation will have some sort of, this is how we're going to rate your performance for the year. So yes, I got one at my 3-month, like sort of 90 days, and then I'll have another one in my 1 year, but I won't make it to my 1 year. So I just put in my notice. How's the gym life? Good, man. So I found a great gym schedule that's kind of worked out for me. It's just 2 days on, 1 day off, and I go in the morning. I started at 20 minutes, just a very quick workout. And then every 3 days I add a minute. So I'm up to like 26 minutes now. Just doing cardio and working out, and I feel great, man. I really do. How well were your CSS skills during your first job? Well, not very good, to be honest with you. Alignment, margins, paddings, I could handle that. If you ask me, I don't even know what a polyfill is. I'd probably have to look it up right now. Not probably, I would have to look it up right now. But yeah, so I'll just try to slip in that, put in my notice, Phil said. I will, man. I'm going to film a video about it eventually. I will say that I did very well for myself. I'm happy. I'm going to go work with some other coworkers I've worked with before, so I'm very excited by that. Is a degree in software engineering dead? No, degrees are great, man. They open doors for you. They're not the only way to open doors. Like for instance, I'm not going to go into details right now. It's been, hey, here's the thing, guys. It has been an exciting month. So if some of you have been, hey, man, you haven't been live coding. Hey, man, where you been at? I've been doing crazy shit, just studying and prepping. So I don't want to talk about it too much, but Microsoft flew me out to Seattle last week, and I did a all-day interview with them, and I don't have a degree. So if you're passionate, you can show it, you can grind, you can continue to grow. There's a lot you can do. But the typical route is a computer science degree. How long did it take me to get comfortable with JavaScript? Ooh. God, probably 2020. I don't know, man. It's always funny to me to say I won't ever say I've mastered something. I'll say I am proficient in something. I had an interviewer ask me, like, where would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? I said 7 to 8. That's where I think I am. And I don't think I'll get above that. Not because I'm not going to get better or improve, but because that 9 and 10 level is like some next level stuff. As he put it, he's like, if you're a 10, you either wrote JavaScript or were on the team, right? Do I understand closures, callback promises, and methods? I know what bind does. Apply and call, I don't know what that does off the top of my head, but I understand closures, callback promises, and methods. Although when I interviewed with Google, I fumbled on the promise thing really hard because I've been using async and await for so long. And in the interview there, they didn't want me to use async and await for my technical interview. Yeah, I tanked my Google one. The recruiter offered and said, hey, man, we all have bad ones. I'd love to set you up with another interview if you're interested. At this point, I had been so tired of interviewing, and I had turned down 4 offers that either weren't high enough or wasn't the right place or something like that. Sometimes you have to remember you're being interviewed, but you're also interviewing the company, and that if you don't like the company, don't take the job, no matter what they're offering. So I'd been so sick of interviewing that I said, you know what, man, I accepted an offer. I appreciate it, and he said, I understand. Maybe we'll reach out to me if you change your mind. Set up another interview for you with Google sometime. Yeah, Microsoft put me up in a nice hotel too, man. It was I kind of was silly and scheduled a quick flyback. So I got there Thursday, I stayed Friday. And I flew back Friday night at 11 at night. I don't know what I was thinking. What was the initial salary of your first dev jobs before the raise? So if you really want to think about it, my very first internship got $12 an hour. They hired me to do contract work for them for $20 an hour. And then I got hired to do technical documentation / like a business analyst role. And that paid me $22 an hour, and which is about $45,000 if I remember correctly. And then I got hired to in my next job where I made $62 or $62,000, which got bumped to 67, which then the next job got bumped to 75 to my current job, which is in the 6 figures, my future job. So that's sort of my salary history. But remember, when it comes to salary, man, it's also benefits, right? Not only just health and dental and PTO, but little things like snacks, monthly money, gym memberships. These things save you money, right? If you're already paying for a gym membership and your company is offering to pay for it, that's, let's say that's $30 a month. That's $360 a year. No, I'll be staying in Florida currently. My next role is a 6-figure role. Yes, the one I start in 3 weeks. I did not see Bill Gates at Microsoft. It was cool though visiting Microsoft. I got to see. So the building I was in was like one of the Xbox buildings. So once you entered and you went through like the glass like I guess doors, in the not in the lobby, but in like this big hallway, they had these big old glass containers with like battle scenes set up with like Halo stuff. Pretty cool. Are you still doing coaching? I call it mentoring. How much do you charge, and what's the best way to contact you about it? So I charge $90 an hour, but that's going up in 3 weeks. So the way that I charge for mentoring is it's 2.5 times what my hourly rate is. So, how much, but best way to contact me, just shoot me an email at dylansemail310@gmail.com. If your job afford to pay for you to get your degree, would you do it? I consider it because I want to teach. But not right now. Like 5 years from now. Right now, I'm looking to buy a house and everything else. What type of role was I shooting for? It's a front end role, but Microsoft doesn't interview you for your roles. They interview you based off of like, are you gonna hire Microsoft? So I didn't get a single JavaScript question or front end question in my entire interview, all day interview, because that's just not how they do things. If you got an interview offer from Amazon, would you go? I've interviewed with Amazon twice. So yes. Yes, I'm still in Florida. No, it's not with Microsoft. Microsoft passed on me. There's some more CS heavy, and I'll talk about this in more detail in a video, but there's some CS heavy concepts that I had sort of forgotten about, and that's fine. I knew that was going to happen, but it was a deal breaker for them, more or less. So Frog, my suggestion is you already have a degree in economics. There's absolutely zero reason to go back. If you're going to do anything, start to self-study, and now go ahead and go to a boot camp if that's what you're interested in. Can you name as many top tech companies you've interviewed with? I've interviewed with the big four: Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. Did I reach out? I mean, I've applied, but I also have been recommended by colleagues and things like that. So you got to have those networks, man. It's always good to network. Yeah. That was the interesting thing about Microsoft too, is having interviewed with them and gone through it. It's not as hard as you might think it was. Like, and I say this as someone who's just got rejected, but if they're like, yo, come back in 2-3 months, having seen what that was there, all I really have to do is go and study traditional algorithms, binary search, breadth first search, that type of stuff. What was the college you went to and left? Well, there's two. Originally Cal State Los Angeles, and then most recently, which I think is what you're talking about, Marco, is Western Governors University. It's funny though. So like the algorithms that I did, so I did about 15 algorithms when I interviewed with Microsoft. Maybe like 13, so around 13. 13 questions, 13 algorithms throughout the day when I interviewed with Microsoft. On there, I would say from my coding course, there is about six that were on there. And then some of them, two problems that I specifically didn't solve on Code Fights were actually, or I guess they're Code Signal now. Why they changed their name, I have absolutely no idea. They asked, and I was like, God. Those are probably the most frustrating ones, because it was like I tried to solve this and I couldn't, and here I am in a Microsoft interview and I should have spent more time. Yeah. Now you're getting a 6-figure salary. How much you paying for April's ring? I don't want to say what algorithm specifically. I signed like an NDA sort of stuff. I'm sure I signed a bunch of paperwork, so they probably wouldn't appreciate it. So I'll just talk about it a little bit in less detailed fashion. Every team's going to interview different, so it doesn't matter. But um, yeah, um, yeah, no. So I told April that we're buying a house. So essentially, here's the deal: is we were considering relocating to Seattle. So if we relocated to Seattle, great. But if we stayed in the area, I was going to buy a house. And so right now we're going to go housing hunting. So if we stayed in the area, I told April I'd buy her house and I let her get a puppy. So that's sort of what's next on the horizon for me. Are you strictly interested in tech or also interested in entrepreneurship? Um, I mean, I'm interested in entrepreneurship. I don't know when I would do it, like when I would start my own. I kind of consider YouTube a little bit entrepreneurial, right? It has a lot of the same aspects. Um, but but yeah, how did the interview with Engineer Truth happen? How did it happen? I don't know, man. I've known Matt for over 20 years. Matt and I grew up together. Um, these things just happen. He visited me, like, I don't know, maybe 6 months back or something like that. It wasn't too long ago. Ooh, it has been a long week. Let me tell you, man. How old am I? I am 30. I will be 31 in October, and I feel like I just turned 30 not too long ago. Time is flying, man. Um, how would you say devs typically are? It depends, man. I work with some devs who are younger than me. I work with some devs that are older than me. It all just depends on the organization. Will I still be doing Angular at my new job? I may be, but I believe they are a React shop. Do I think being dev is a relatively safe career? Absolutely. The idea of automation, etc., it's just silly, man. There's always, I mean, software and technology is probably not, if not the number one, not the number two best items to get going. Um, in terms of direction of a career, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's such a fast growing field. It's so in high demand. It's such a stupid question is what bothers me about it. And it's not your fault, Frog. It's because all these people who like to say the sky is falling. It is, there's twice as many jobs as there are people to do it. You just have to be qualified to get the job. That's really it at the end of the day. Any tips on how to break down algorithms? I think it's just practice, man, and being able to visualize it, draw it out, start thinking about it, and buy my course for $9.99 with coupon code Coding God in the description below, and you'll become a coding god. What were I like in my 20s? I mean, I was single in my early 20s, so I was a little bit different then. I was a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more outlandish, a little bit more of an idiot, I suppose. I wanted to ask, I want to plan by your Angular course. Are they completely up to date? They're not completely up to date. Angular 4 and Angular 5, nothing's really changed up in Angular 6. So, yeah, same concepts will carry over. There's nothing in there that's not going to work for you. I did get a new job. I started in 3 weeks. That's about all I want to say about that. Western Governors University, WGU. Yeah. A lot of people are always worried where they're on Angular 6, man. What's going on? All you really have to worry about is that there's Angular 1 or Angular JS, and then there's Angular 2 Plus, now just referred to as Angular. And they're just on version 6 of the new Angular framework, right? It's like React is on like React 17 or something like that. You don't call it React 17. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you what though, man. Doing that, making that 100 algorithm course, and just because that probably took me 2 months to make. Just I was putting 2 months like every day almost, and that ton of time on the weekends to make that course. But it helped prep me for job interviews. Let me tell you that much. Do you have an option to work remotely at your work? Is working remotely common for intermediate devs? Yeah, for the most part. I usually don't. I actually one of the weirdos that like going in the office. I wouldn't say like, but I think I get value out of it. But there are some times where I say, "Hey, I'm gonna work remote." Everyone's cool with it, right? They understand. And you just work from home because you got an errand to run. You need to go get an oil change, whatever it may be. You got your kids for that day. I told my girlfriend I'm practicing to become a coding guy. She asked me when I plan to becoming, do the dishes guy. Yeah, man. Did you ever play around with the Mugen? Is that something from? Does that sound familiar? Huh. No. Could I work as so your 100 algorithm course is available? Yeah, in the description, there's a link to it. You can get it for just $10. Could you work remote as much as you want, sir? It all depends on your job, right? So some roles will hire you remote only if that's what you want. Other roles will say, look, we need you. You got to come in 1 day a week to do the ceremonies for our agile process. Other roles will say, look, we want you in the office, but if there's a day a week that you need to work remote once a week, cool. Other roles will say you can just work remote every now and again when you have to. Not every job's different, right? How many jobs have you had now? I guess I'll be starting my third salaried developer role. Although I have had an internship that turned into a contract role, and then a previous job at a software company, but I wasn't doing software and it was hourly. And what's the longest? 1 year. Any tips starting someone coding via the internet? Start building things. Start a side project. But really, above everything else, Joe, just have consistency, man. The consistency will carry you farther than anything else. Keep it fun, though. Keep it fun. Just want to appreciate you for your work, God. We'll keep blessing you. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's so funny. The harder I work, the luckier I get, right? You can do this well. So, are there any side projects or courses that you're currently working on? Look, man, I've been killing myself interviewing. So, I think for a little bit, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break. I have a Vue.js tutorial coming out next week for the channel, but in terms of look at my eyes, man. I haven't been getting any sleep. I've been so stressed out about putting my 2 weeks in, and like, cause that shit's stressful, dude. Um, that I haven't slept for the last 2 days since I've given it. Um, you know, so it's been so rough. In terms of side projects, YouTube's my side project, man. Um, I mean, I think I have 800 videos on YouTube. 800. That's a real number. Uh, there's really no time left for side projects. I mean, you could talk about side projects. Like I just released my third course in partnership with Scrimba.com on TypeScript. I've done a JavaScript course, a ES6 course plus, and a TypeScript course with them. So I consider that a side project. I'll be guesting on the Dev Mountain podcast. That's another thing, and I partner with other channels and things like that. So sort of this YouTube thing is kind of full-time job. But I do have a couple ideas for side projects, but I promised April that after I landed this next role and I got that next pay increase that I wanted, and we sort of that I would kind of calm down on the studying. Um, I would slow down in the studying, and I would, I'm not going to stop completely by any means, but I would enjoy a little bit of life. And so a little bit of life right now is I'm going to go buy a house. So I got the money in the bank, and I'm going to go buy a house, more than likely, and a good dog. And I kind of want to start playing poker again. I really that was one hobby I really missed. So that's what I'm gonna probably do. And then just do the YouTube same consistency. I've been doing two videos and then one what do you call it, one live stream a week. But I did make a commitment to April that I was going to spend more time with her, and I was going to kind of chill for a little bit. We'll see how long. I think I might be addicted to working. I'm kind of worried about it because I've found it hard to like just relax even for like a day, and it's only been a day, so it's a little strange. Am I interested in DevOps? Yes, I'm interested in it all, man. It's gonna be fun. First portfolio with your two apps, were they just front end? All I had was front end. Did I consume RESTful APIs? Yes, I did. Can you explain how you felt during your first week as a junior dev? I was exhausted. So my very first junior, I mean, I didn't have junior in my title, but my very first dev role, I was moved from Los Angeles to Tampa, Florida, essentially. And I arrived 2 days before, and I made the drive in like 3.5 days. It was miserable. And I just was like in an Airbnb, found a room to rent, and it was just exhausting. And so I showed up, looked the best I could, and I was just nervous, and it was strange. But I put in the work. In the next 3 months, I was nervous the whole time. Next 3 months, I just kept on studying, kept on learning, kept on trying to grow and grind and get up to speed. That was really what my objective was in that first couple months. How long has it been from the internship to this new job? I'd have to look it up exactly. I'll tell you, man. 1 second. I think it's been 4 years. Let me see here. When did I have that internship? It's been about 3.5 years. When do you know to apply for the next job? I mean, when do you know? I mean, it depends. If you think that you're not getting fairly compensated, you have two choices. If that's your objective, is one, you can ask for more money. Two, you can go and get more money. So So here's the thing, guys, is you really shouldn't ever worry about the average salary rate once you have a little bit of experience, because if you're a great dev, you're better than the average, right? And you should get paid better than the average dev. Keep that in mind. Just signed my first big boy job. Congratulations, man. Did my current job try and change my mind and get you to stay? I made it clear that I wasn't looking for a counter offer. So yes, I handed in my notice, and I had the uncomfortable discussions, and I just bluntly, before we beat around the bush, just politely said, I'm not looking for a counter offer, just because I don't want them to, why beat around the bush? We all know what's going to happen. It wasn't something I was considering. Am I in the 6-figure range yet? Yes. The studying makes that money. Yes, it does. Harder work, the more calls I get back. It's a strange thing, huh? What do you do when you're overstressed? I don't know. I don't really get stressed anymore. I mean, I do get stressed, but not like I used to, man. The most stressful things in life to me was college. Yeah, I got such a good offer this last time. I didn't negotiate at all. they offered me something. I was like, yeah, I'll take that shit. I was like, every time I've always asked for more in a job interview, and then they gave me more than I asked for. I said, yes, please. I was like, but they're like, we can skip over the part where you're gonna ask for more. We're just gonna give you more than what you asked for. I was like, all right. Yeah, we're good, man. They're like, what do you think about that? I was like, yeah, we're good. We're good. We'll work with that. They weren't playing around, bro. Man. Yeah. Everything worked out. So how to get over stress, man? For me, it's about just keeping life fun. And when I do know I'm getting stressed, I tell April, and she'll tell me to calm down. And it's I find exercising helps as well. But it's just one of those things, man, where you have to find your sort of points where you see it's about catching when you're getting stressed, and it's also about knowing how to handle it. So for me, I have to find out what the stressors are and then eliminate them. Do you ever want to leave Florida? Yeah, my Florida plan is like a 5-year plan, and I'm in year 2. I've never really thought about having a being in Florida too. I mean, 5 years is a long time, but so I'll be here at least 3 more years, I think, and then I'll probably move back to the West Coast. No, I'm not moving cities. Well, I'm moving cities, but in the same general area, right? In the same Tampa area. Will my new job be harder slash different from the current one? Every job's different. Excuse me, guys. Um, um, harder. I don't know about harder. You reach a certain point as a developer where things aren't really harder. They're just more complex or complicated. Writing code isn't hard anymore. There's days where you can't get those solutions. You're running into errors. There's days where it feels like your brain's not working. There's days where you're diving into technology you're not familiar with, but it's not really harder. It's just more complex. The day, after about a year of writing software, it stops being hard. It's just, I either know it or I don't know it. Money versus perks at work. What do you look for? If you're doing your job search right, you're going to get money and perks, and you don't have to choose. But I think you left out environment and culture, and which are equally important. I've turned down my 3 highest offers because I didn't like the culture or I didn't like the city. I got offered 140,000, and no, this was a contract to hire role. I want to say it was like 68 an hour, something like that, in Jacksonville, Florida. But there's a lot of red flags with the job, and also it was in Jacksonville, Florida, which I went and visited. There's nothing going on there, so I turned it down. Do you think it's reasonable to junior React dev with no experience, but 2 React sites ask for 65K in New York City? I have no idea. I mean, the market decides that. I am enjoying my internship and graduating this year, but starting salary is low with not much growth after a couple of years. Should I stay for a year for experience or should I follow the money? I should probably follow the money. If you can get a job and get some experience, then the money will come from another organization faster than it'll come from your own most of the time. I need sleep. I know, man. I'm tired. Some of us work, bro. I've been working the whole week. I haven't had a good night's sleep yet. Give me a break, man. It's not like I got a makeup artist over here. When did I start coding? This is always such a strange question because I don't really know. I want to say it was around 23, 24 when I was in college. If you're fronting, what's your take on C# versus Java? I happen to like. I've worked in C#. I've worked in Java. I like C# much better. Do you like playing as a Zerg in StarCraft? I was a Protoss player just because I couldn't really micro, and they just had like big units that were strong. Best city and or country for dev and coding opportunities? Well, for country, I'd probably say the U.S. Just the most major dev companies are here, and there's a high competition for them, so the pay is very high. Should you dive into AI if that's what you want to do, man? Do you get good grades in high school? And how well were you in math? I was okay at math, algebra, several algebra courses. That was about it. I didn't do any calculus in high school. Good grades. I got like B's. Well, I got A's up until sophomore year, and then I started hanging out with the wrong crowd junior and senior year, and my mom kicked me out, and I lived with my dad, so I was going through some stuff around that age, and I got like C's. Yeah, there's nothing illegal about what I was doing. It was more so red flags of it wasn't an organization I wanted to work at. Like the guy so for instance, it's by the way, this is a bank. They do billions of dollars and like transactions, a well-known bank. And the guy canceled, no-showed on the call 3 times with me. And it might have been twice, but he just had things come up at work. And like, to me, it's like, well, if it's that hectic, do I really want to be there? Like, that sounds crazy, right? How did I find coding? No, I've never worked with Brain.js, but coding. So my thing with coding is I just made a good decision. I looked at the Bureau Labor of Statistics, I believe it's called, Labor of Science and Statistics, and I looked up what the best degrees were when I was about 21, and and I was trying to accomplish three things. One, I wanted to make good money. Two, I wanted there to be a lot of jobs, and three, I wanted there to be a lot of growth. And when I looked through it, the computer science degree, and like 10 years ago, there wasn't really software engineering degrees. There's just computer science degrees. That was the one that knocked all those three off. That was like the best degree by far in terms of those three criteria that I was looking at. High salaries, large job growth, lots of jobs. And that's what I chose. And I fell in love with it not after I dropped out of college, but I enjoyed coding in college. But it was when I started coding outside of school and I started doing things like Free Code Camp and Code Academy that I really enjoyed it. And I started building things and started playing around with it. Is the Indeed job trend comparison chart still out there? I think they deprecated it last time I checked. So sorry. But yeah. I feel like AI is putting us out of business soon. Please tell me I'm wrong. You're wrong. Yeah, Zachary. There might be something else though, but I know that Indeed one that I've showed in a couple of videos they've deprecated. With that being said, guys, we've been going for I think about an hour. It has been fun. It has been a blast. I kind of dropped a few nuggets about what I've been up to the last month or so. It has been a crazy month, a tiring month, with lots of good changes, lots of positive changes, and lots of failures along the way. And you know what we say about failures and taking those L's? It's it's those L's that get you to the W's, right? So on the path to getting W's is filled with bricks of L's. The road, you have to take those losses on the way to successes. I've had way more no's than I've had yeses, but those yeses are part of the process, and those no's are part of the process. And so, when did I want the job with Microsoft? Absolutely. Did I get it? No. Was I glad that I went and I did it? Absolutely. It has been a journey for the last month for sure, and definitely for the last several years. But just keep that in mind, right? I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, support me on Patreon. Hit that motherfucking subscribe button, as our boy Ethan and Gila might say. H3H3 Productions, and hit that notification bell. And if you haven't already and you're thinking, damn man, Dylan's trying to buy a house, Dylan's trying to do big things, I want to support him. How can I support him? Well, you can by buying some of my courses in the description below. You also can by donating some money for Fan Funny and buying a brick on my house. It would be appreciated. Anyhow, I appreciate y'all, and keep motivated, keep working hard. See you guys next time.